Hello everyone, my name is Rochelle Stewart and today I will be discussing some of the many factors for immigration within the U.S. and the focal points of immigrants from Latin America and the Caribbean. Whether we want to believe it or not, immigration has existed for many years. Racial and cultural revolts against immigrants of Latin America and the Caribbean were also once directed towards the Irish, the Germans, Asians, and other ethnic groups. For me, there is no real reason why immigrants shouldn't be allowed within the U.S. But to the U.S., immigration restrictions and laws are justified by the notion that immigrants take American jobs, with little evidence to prove this. Immigrants that come to America don't simply take jobs, they also create more jobs. By living in the U.S., the demand for goods and services also increases, creating more jobs for Americans. The truth is, why do immigrants leave their countries and come to the United States, knowing the hardships or the uncertainties of their future? The main reason immigrants leave their homeland is to seek financial gain. Immigrants in their country earn such low wages it's almost impossible to maintain an adequate living standard. Referring to the movie Romantico, Carmelo states that in the United States he can earn $100 in one night, but in Mexico it would take him 2 weeks to probably earn that much. That's $50 a week, $7.14 a day. Now tell me, how would you make that work for yourself and family? According to Silent Revolution, the rise of market economics in Latin America, until the 1930s, the Latin American economy was based primarily on exporting raw materials to the industrial nations. But in 1929, the stock market crashed, and the ensuing depression spread to Latin America, which no longer had a strong market for its products. Many Latin American governments therefore embarked on a new economic course, one which seemed the most sensible at the time. Because exportation had proven too fraught with danger, these governments tried to achieve self-sufficiency under an economic plan called import substitution. With all this new money coming into America, they gladly gave out loans to third world countries. Latin American countries gladly accepted these loans under certain circumstances. In 1970, the U.S. raised the interest rates on these loans from 4 and 6% to 20% and over. This made it almost impossible for these Latin countries to pay them back. Having Mexico in 1982 be the first to announce they could not follow through with these payments, along with other countries after them. Also, in these countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, where factories are built to manufacture goods that are sold back to the U.S. for profitable gain, do not abide or have to abide by certain wages, safety, and environmental standards that are in effect in the U.S. when coming to working conditions. For example, in the movie Maria Full of Grace, a young woman named Maria worked in a flower factory where she dethorned and packed flowers. In this particular scene, Maria has to raise her hand in order to ask permission to use the restroom, which is not commonly seen in the U.S. In asking her boss to use the restroom because she does not feel well, he clearly tells her no and to keep working, and that she is holding up the distribution of flowers that must be packed and sent out for the day, causing them to lose money. Immigration within the countries in Latin America and the Caribbean are the largest immigrant groups today, with Mexico being in the lead. It is quite clear that immigrants do not come to America to just take jobs from Americans, but to help their families back home financially so that they are able to survive and maintain a stable living standard. While reading an article in the New York Times, it stated the crash surge for the U.S. to Latin American countries and the Caribbean was at its highest. What was more surprising was the widely spread locations and states that immigrants were sending money from. The survey and information from these polls had given reasons to assume and reflect the largely growing population of Latin America and Caribbean immigrants in the United States, and that they were the ones who tend to send money back to their native lands and families more than any other more than any other ethnic group. Some agricultural products that come from these Latin American countries and the Caribbean are sugar, rice, flour, coffee, and many other things that we have in our American cabinets today. Thank you. My name is Rochelle Stewart, and I enjoyed sharing this